Alright, so this is a new life diary, and hope you like the new view, kind of, for now. Um, so, yeah, it's just weird because everything that's happened throughout my entire life has been extremely abstract, actually, even from like early years when I was very young and I was asking my parents, or trying to, well, first it was obviously starting to learn how to communicate, learning how to think, learning about intuition. That was a hard one for me. That because originally I didn't know how to do intuition in any sort of. I didn't know how to take advantage of intuition and use it for things. But these uh, enforcements of my family, my parents, like not really uh, teaching me when it comes to how to figure out things. They always said, "Oh, figure it out for yourself," and that was a very strange thing to have for your parents to tell you that. It forced me to become a very, very seriously involved person, in the sense that I would, and still do to this day, I have a very aggressive. I'm not sure if it's aggressive. A very extremely deep, grinding uh, range of everything I do, in a sense. I'm sure there's exceptions to that. Um, so if I'm learning something, it's not learning, it's like I am going right into abstract thinking. I'm going, keep on going until I can't go any further, kind of thing, to the impossible. That, that point between what is possible and what isn't, what is not possible. And when I do that, then I can't fail, because that's the limit it can go. So you know what I mean. It's just that kind of thinking. When you go to the impossible of everything, you've kind of mastered it. And then people say, I'm like a mastery type person, in some sense, that I might be considered someone who is what I would consider a positioner. Now I should probably go into this. I've changed a lot of the names and things around, and for my anatomical function pattern theory stuff that I talk all the time. Um, what was ISFPs were originally positioners. Well, actually, they're not positioners; they're differencers, which means they absorb differences, and people differences reflect differences. So ESFPs reflect differences, and ISFPs absorb differences. Go do it. Go ask an ESFP what their passion is, and in some way it will come to, like, in some way it will be about reflecting difference. It makes sense. They like being strong, and to be strong, you need to make a difference, and that's what they're that kind of person. They are centered on that. Um, and the ISFP, like Michael Jackson or Lady Gaga, also known as Stephanie. I don't know what her second name is, but they are ISFPs, and they are all about absorbing that difference, which is why you see them doing the artisan role, because they build up this image of difference and then they absorb from it. It's how they work. They work off the emotional sensations. So do the INFPs, ENFPs, and ESFPs and ISFPs. They all work off their emotions. It's just they do it in different ways. With I know this is supposed to be a life diary, but this is kind of my life. If you haven't already noticed. But yeah, INFPs are trying to they're trying to make things feel good. They're trying to make things feel good and exciting, whereas the ISFP and ESFP is trying to do everything, but maybe not master it, but just be able to do everything, either through themselves or onto other people. You see, so but they're both doing similar things, in the sense that the INFP is branching out. So as the ISFP is doing everything, they are kind of branching out in a sense, but the INFP is doing it in a more intuitive way, and if you know what I mean. And the opposite is just that they're reflecting that. So ENFPs are like magnets. You come near them, and they're trying to get you into. They want to be your best friend. They want to show you harmony, and so they're going to throw it at you. They're going to be like, yeah, come on. They're going to make you feel so great and good, and teach you about it and everything. And, that's what they're doing. But the ISFP is trying to absorb everything that's different from their emotional experiences, and then assimilate these images in the head of difference, and then they can take it out and show it to people through their how it affects people emotionally. So they're like emotion manipulators, whereas the ESFP is trying to reflect, in a sense, that emotion manipulation or something like that. It's very convoluted, and I'm still understanding it. It's all very new to me. Anyways, we can move on from that. So let's just get on to just life to me has always been something that it's been extremely hard, and I think it's hard for everyone in some way, but it's just like a wall is around me all the time, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get that wall out of the way, because that's the problem. That's where it's everyone's problem, is a limitation. It's either a limitation or an intentional what's the word? Intentional, not intentional, but like a wall. It could be intentional. See, it's extremely complex. It's a complex wall that is either limiting us or an anatomical limitation. And that's what I'm trying to get around, but you can't, in some ways, because there's just there's some aspect to it that you just don't agree with, or you're just not capable of getting through it, because you just don't want to. And so once you realize that, you start to say, okay, well, the things that I want to do, I should be branching myself out in things that I want to do, and do those things that I want to do as well. And so I sit here on this video trying to figure out what I want to do, and I've talked about this probably a little bit, but I want to master everything, and I don't think I'm ever going to reach it, because there's a point where my thinking just will not. I can't use it. I can't go any further, because there is. Well, it's starting to show. I don't think that's true, actually. I think it's more like I'm just having to learn new techniques for certain things. I'm still always learning new techniques to use abstract thinking in everyday life. For instance, trying to figure out the formula for each personality type has been extremely difficult. Now, I know that there are ways to figure it out more simply, I'm sure, but those are very enigmatic things. They're very hidden and mysterious things that are obvious to me. So it's like I can't just say. I mean, I could probably figure it out right now, right? I mean, if I was trying to tell someone, I probably could figure out, like, why don't you just figure out, a system of requirements that have to be made for a particular form of build a system or a filtering system that's like a requirements. Build a filtering system that's like a requirement system. So, like, for a formula, there has to be these certain, what do you call them? These check marks. These check marks have to be ticked, otherwise it's not a formula. And then you go, okay, so what's the ISFP one? Well, you have to fill yourself with ISFP or simulate it in your head from the information that you have of experiences with them. And that's really hard to do because the information you have is so vague and so sparse and so bizarre and so reconfigured from other experiences that it's like the information is only good. It's good, but it's not very. You can't really take it and do it much with it in this particular area, and that's what I find. But so I have had to clarify a lot with them directly. I've had to go up to these personalities and directly speak to them, and make these statements and keep clarifying. And it pisses people off sometimes, especially ISFJs and things. They just like they're quiet, and so if you come up to them and you start saying, "Oh well, is this your personality?" They don't even know. Some of them don't even know how to even understand what I'm saying. If I go up to an ISFJ and say, ISFJ's formula, or the formula of ISFJ, is to take non-important or important information and turn it into a reaction that satisfies everyone so much that it transforms them into something better. That is what an ISFJ does, and the ISFJ does the similar idea, except it's with people instead. So they're taking people information, the important or non-important information revolving around people, and putting those people together in a way that satisfies them and everyone else as well, and possibly teach them. Actually, maybe reflect it onto them might be more accurate. Would be the accurate way of putting it. They reflect that. It's like those experiences you get where you're around a lot of people and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, I can. This is working out for me. If I could just, get myself around certain people or certain types of people, then life will be better. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. And, that's pretty interesting, I guess. Something like that. It's all really pretty minuscule and, and it's just building on that and taking it further, which is not hard to do once you've got the formula, once you've got the foundation, which is why you need INTPs. In that sense, you don't actually need them. I don't need to speak to INTPs to figure this out. I can do it by myself because I am mostly their personality. It's just I'm an extroverted version, so it's a little bit different, but I can figure it out, right? I guess everyone can figure out the foundation, possibly. But yeah. So that's really what it is. That's the sort of solution to my problems, is to accurately realize and be similar to everything, really, to some extent. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I can be everything. And I'm never going to be able to do that fully, so I can only go as far as I can go. And also then it comes down to what my life decisions were, and how those life decisions, that's what personality really is. It's just life decisions. There's a pattern of life decisions, and there's 16 patterns of life decision, which can be very varied, but the pattern's more of a deeper pattern. It's not a in-your-face pattern. Sometimes I'm sure it can be, but 9 times out of 10, everyone's going to have a variation on that particular pattern. Just like there's variations of electricity or variations of fire, same deal with personality, because they're very closely related, or correlated. Correlated is more, well, technically it is related because it is energy, but we all know that because you watched my previous videos, right? So that's what it is. So I'm still learning what is the language of all these different personality types, and for ISFPs it seems to be emotion, sensation, experience. So you just manipulate that, and that's the first step of making someone feel good or not. Or maybe they need to see it on you, or they definitely want to feel like they're impressive, pleasant, etc., which they would do because they're artisan types. Which, so what I mean. They need that there. Sorry, the light went off on the screen. because it turns off. And then like with other types, like experiences, it's about that exchange, that a deep exchange of memories and ideas and thoughts and insights and enlightenment. So yeah, if you can't put that onto someone, if you can't take, well, it really depends, because each type has their own way of living, so their own life. Everyone's life decisions has its own, obviously has its own pattern, but it also has this you could say positioning towards a certain way of life, and everyone has their own way of life, and it is varied as well, but there are patterns which are relevant, that are related extremely to the life decision. So that's hard to deal with, because if I'm like an ENTP and I'm going up to an INFP, the INFP wants to have excitement and warmth, and the ENTP just wants to have a similarly attracted exchange of information. So that's what we want, is like, we want a similarly attracted exchange of information. So for me, it's a sexual one. So for me, if somebody could communicate their information to me through a sexual medium, then they're the best person in the world to me, as far as I'm concerned. So that's what it's about for us. So if you want to please an experiencer type, so either a reflector experiencer or a absorbing experiencer, so an absorbing experiencer is an INTP and a reflector experiencer is an ENTP, then you have to do it in their own way. For absorbing experiences, it's more about the mind. For the ENTP, it's more about the person, the people. So for me, I have to see it I have to experience it from a person, and it has to come out of a person. You know what I mean? It can't be just inside all the damn time. I can be in that world, but I'm not like at the level of a INTP. That's just another example of how life decision owns us, and if we could break out of that, it would be great. But I think everyone is fears that. I fear it. I fear to change my life decision processes so that I can match myself to everyone else, and I'm trying to do that in other ways. Maybe I'll get to the point where I can confidently alter my life decisions on the fly, and I can be whatever the fuck I want. You mean that's the ideal thing, right? You know, if you can get that, well done. I mean, I can do it in certain ways. Like I can change myself to be. It's more like how I solve problems, actually. To be honest, like how I solve problems, I've expanded that out. That's kind of like where my where my branching out is in my problem solving. I'm always like trying to figure out new ways to solve problems, etc., and different perspectives and da 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 da. We're like yeah. I don't know all the perspectives. There's some perspectives I don't agree with. Some perspectives I've just haven't learned how to deal with it, etc., etc. But you know, 9 times out of 10, most problems I can figure out a solution to, or get very close to it, or get close to it. Like seriously, any problem, I dare you, just as long as it's not mathematical, I dare you to throw it, or something that I don't really understand. So, you know, like politics or something that I don't want to know much about, or I haven't spent a lot of time with. I'll be able to solve it. Like if someone started talking about, you know, Henry VIII history, I wouldn't know what happened, but I might be able to solve some of the more social related problems, or the more, you know, human related problems at least. Maybe even environmental per se. Yeah, because I have some crazy techniques of figuring out stuff that I don't even know anything about, just because I do, and I can do it fairly okay. I wouldn't say I'm a master at it, but I can do it fairly okay. Anyways, so that's what it's about for us. So yeah, if I'm talking to an INFP, they need to understand that if they don't communicate with me their information on a more deeper plane. I'm just never gonna. It's just I'm never gonna. It's never gonna work because I just won't be able to appreciate them because they're not appreciating me. So, in that way, I think there's rare exceptions. I mean, if you put in some weird, awkward situations, yeah, you sacrifice things. But if you're in a close relationship with someone and they're supposed to be into you and they're supposed to want you and like you, then you expect them to do that, or not expect them. You help them do that. That's what you should really do. Or, well, it depends on the person. You figure out if the person wants to be helped or not, and then you make your move. So, yeah. And that's what I'm just saying. It's just that's been my problem for the longest time. This how much life decision owns us. And I mean, I was just watching. I've been focusing on INFPs because it's what I'm doing. I need to learn about INFPs for the project I'm working on, game project I'm working on, and it's been pretty tough. But you know, I'm learning, and I figured out that INFPs, yeah, they want the excitement and the warmth, but I think there's a bit more. The formula of that is what I'm trying to figure out, and once I figure that out, which I will be able to hopefully today, or in a few days or weeks or whatever it takes, I will then I'll have that one, and then I can just branch that off, because it's like once you've got the first part, you can sort of figure out the rest of the extroverted one. At least I can, to some extent. Right? And you just work on it and make it better and better and better, and you clarify things, you make sure everything's alright, and which I probably will end up doing, even though I made them. Figured out, guess the extrovert one if I had to do that. Sometimes I don't even have to do that. Anyway, so yeah, my life has just been like that. It's hold on, I need to check. I know I can see it there. What the fuck am I doing? It's just weird. But in terms of socializing with people, it's just like having someone. Obviously I've said it before. I don't want to socialize with people. I just want to exchange information with people on a deeper level. And that's hard for people, I guess, because some people need to talk with someone, and I don't mind talking with someone to communicate my experience with it, or of that information, or just go ask questions. I love answering questions or asking them, but some types don't even like to be asked questions, which I find really irritating, because it doesn't make any sense how someone can live their life and not have that, not even, I don't know, how can you live your life and not want to be asked questions? It makes no sense. Is it because it's more likely to lead to conflict or something? Is there some better way that I'm supposed to be living? Well, why don't they tell me? Why don't I ask them? And that's just the thing. It's just this communication conversion. And once I figure that out, it's pretty much solved. My hardest issues are solved. It's no longer, I don't know how to talk to this person. It's more like, I can say whatever the fuck I want as long as I convert it. Well, I mean, there's obviously filtering limitations and all that kind of shit, and there's limitations, period. But, that's what I'm trying to figure out, is that conversion. And I can't figure that out until I have a comprehensive system of anatomical functionality. And that's what I'm going to do. And I guess I can move on to something else now, because I wanted to talk about my relationships in life. Just why not? I'll probably make an ENTP video on this eventually, but I'm going to talk about it here. But I might expand on it more, in the ENTP one, or I might expand on it quite a lot here. I don't know. I probably will do. I might just do it here and then make this. I don't know what to do about that. What the fuck is going on with my hair? That is not the hairstyle I want. Just my relationships with people in an intimate way have always been rather bizarre in some way or form. The first girlfriend I had, or if you could even consider her a girlfriend, it was more like a consistent attachment with someone was this, and it was weird because when I came into primary school, I it was quite a cold time for me. Everything was very cold. Um, I was fairly peeved off with life for the longest time. It was obviously the precursor to my extreme depression later on in life. But and it doesn't seem to be going away, and it probably never will. But it was just like, at this point in my life, I wanted to experience the sensationalism to a very passionate level, even at that time. And I had never had a kiss from someone. I never got to kiss anyone at that time, even at that period. And and she was just a mixed coloured girl, but she was more on the slightly darker, brown darker side, not black darker side, but brown. I mean, it is black, but it's like, anyways, it's darker white, much darker white, um, uh, brown, much browner white, much browner white, browner than me. Okay, and she had these the braided hair and all this stuff, and it was kind of off-putting, to be honest, at the first. I don't find braided hair that appealing. It's not the worst hair I've seen. Uh, I could see me enjoying it. I wouldn't pick it unless it was the only option. You know what I mean? So that should have been already first thing, saying, "Oh, you don't like her, really, do you?" But it was more like I liked her psychology, and it was also another thing of like, should I take advantage of this moment in my life? Because I honestly thought she was a little bit more, a bit more ignorant than I was, a bit more dafter, and I didn't intend to take advantage of her. I didn't. I just. To me, it was like, I want to experience sensualism. So I didn't really care who it was per se as much. I just wanted to make sure that it was someone who was decent or had some form of similar attraction to. And yeah, I had liked her psychology, so that was good enough for me. The rest of it didn't matter, which was such a stupid thing to do, but at that time. But whatever. And well, somewhat stupid. I mean, there was a safety net, but still. So I did. I said, I liked her, and she was one of those kind of people who was sort of just not really involved. She was just sort of playing the game, playing a little bit, and it was just like, and I just wanted to kiss her or something, or do more, to be honest. And but she didn't seem very interested in it, obviously. And it just went on for a day. So she obviously wasn't into me. She was just playing. She was just letting. I guess I was a little bit addicted to that at that time, a little bit. So it was only a day, so it wasn't like a big deal. But and she obviously saw that, which was really annoying. And yeah, she just ended it the next day. It was like, okay, well, that was kind of shit. And then like on my second, so that was like the end of that. I never had a relationship again with anyone else that I can remember that was longer than, that I could say was like a significant person. I may have had a few flings here and there that didn't go anywhere, like moments, a day or a week or something, where you'd meet someone and you'd be into each other a little bit. You didn't kiss or anything, you just sort of together, but you're not really. And that was very irritating. But otherwise, I think actually that was a dream that I had once. But so maybe that didn't happen. And yeah, near the end, so I went through the entire primary school. I'm not even joking, where I didn't have anyone as a girlfriend that I can recall with any significant potential. And it was annoying. It was horrible, actually. there was a few flings, like Jennifer, who was great. I mean, she was pretty-ish girl. Well, she was pretty attractive, period. Just very laid, very conclusive. I don't know if conclusive, or she's just very inward, very, yeah, inward person. So, but she had this sort of extroverted exterior. It was kind of awesome. And she went to my secondary school, which I'll get to in a minute. But I tried to go out, ask her out, or something like that, or something, or try to be interested. I think I was very nervous at those times. I think so. It was harder for me to do that. So I don't think I really did it properly. Got to her properly at that time. So that was kind of irritating. Later on in life, I did sort of ask her out or something, and she wasn't interested or something, or she was just joking it around or whatever. She just wasn't into it. But yeah, no. Then it was like, after primary school, it was just okay. Well, here we are, secondary school now, and of course, as soon as I go straight in, and I had attraction. Like, I have this thing where I'm like, I find everyone attractive to some extent, to be honest, and it's weird because then it's happened a lot in secondary school more than it happened in primary school, I think. But I think I did try it on with a few people in primary school, and it didn't go anywhere. And then in secondary school, it's like it became a lot more. But it was just like, yeah, every woman I saw, even some guys, to be honest, and especially in primary school in some areas, it was just like everyone. I need everyone, and I need their sensations, and I need them on me right now, and it wasn't an addiction. I mean, I guess it was like a slave to my emotions, but it was still like I wanted to exchange information, because if you see it from my point of view, I just want to exchange information with people. So having a loving romantic relationship doesn't really make any difference to me. It just helps, or it adds to it, or it doesn't help at all. You see what I mean? So I could like quite more easily than others. So I can take some of the worstest people under my belt. Like, I mean, I hate to say this, but if I wouldn't condone these bad people, but if Adolf Hitler was a very attractive male and had even though he was a six, I mean, actually no, I have a sick side, man. No, I'm gonna be honest. If Adolf Hitler wasn't a very attractive person, and even if he was the worstest person, and he was trying it on with me, no, honestly, I probably wouldn't let him in, because I disagree with his ethics and his way of life. But if I didn't disagree with him, I would totally let him in. And I know people are like, "What? You're fucking sick. You're disgusting." It's information exchange. It has nothing to do with the romanticism or the love part. Well, I mean, it does in the sense of that's what's allowing me to be more open to them. But it's not the entirety of what my point of being in a relationship is. So it doesn't really matter as much. Okay. So now that everyone hates me and I am a disgusting, vile person, let's move on. So as I went through secondary school, I found myself in... I'm going to get the secondary school images up in my head. Okay. And yeah, just the first... I think I've talked about my relationships before, but maybe I haven't talked about it in a lot of detail. If I've talked about it before, then maybe you got some new light into it. So yeah, went into secondary school, and it was like, whoa. This is like bizarre. to be honest. Actually, it was very grainy, not bizarre. It was an extremely grainy experience. And I walk in, and, you know, in my... I think I've talked about all this stuff, but I feel like I just don't see the point of talking about it. You know, I'm not even going to... Sorry, if I haven't... If people want me to talk about it, just leave a comment or something, and I will answer it, or something, and I'll say, okay, I'll make a video on it. So I'll move on from that. There is one relationship that I want to talk about, though, and it was such a bizarre relationship, and I don't even know if they considered it such. I suppose they did in some regards. But way after way into the end of college, I think it was. I had been hanging out with my cousin and his friends, and they were very into like the whole fucking women scene thing, and because I hadn't had a sensual experience even up to that point, really, believe it or not, the only sensual experience I had was like snogging or something by that point. And whatever I did to myself, you know, that was it. It was like, and it was just weird because I was there and we were at one of my cousin's friend's house, and we were just I was sitting on the couch, and we were all I was discussing with them beforehand, for many weeks actually, on and off, that, you know, I haven't got anyone. I want to meet someone, you know, but I don't want to do it like they were doing it. I didn't want to just find some random girl, do her, and then leave, even though I did sort of partake in that at one point, but because I just felt like hopeless. I was just like, well, there's nothing else, and, you know, I need to learn this stuff, I need to figure it out, so I have to take whatever opportunity I can get if it's going to be that difficult. Even though it kind of wasn't, now that I look back at it. I mean, you know, I don't know. Anyways, so, yeah, just, what time is it? 4:14, okay. So, you know, I was just sitting there, and I was like, okay, and one of my cousin's friend, he was like this black, tall guy, thin, well, not thin, but like muscular, tall, black guy, not super muscular, like thin, muscular kind, you know, shiny type, and he was like, oh, I have this friend next door who may have partaked in a multi-sexual experience, and I was like, whoa, okay, I was not expecting to hear that. That was shocking. Because throughout my life, you never hear men or women talking about sex at that level, apart from on the internet, you know, or conversations with people from time to time, but you never hear it from like an actual person that could be like very close by. So that was like, okay, fuck, alright. So I was at that point, I was like, alright, let's try this. So he was like, oh, she might not be there because sometimes she comes around, sometimes she doesn't, and it's had all this like complex system of when she comes here or not. And so yeah, she called her. I think she came over. I saw her, it was kind of weird. She was just this white, goofy, geeky type looking woman, thin, fairly thin actually. But yeah, she just ran across the window. Not ran across the window, but I saw her from walking across the pavement, and the window is like in the driveway. It's kitchen. The living room window was pointing outside to the driveway, and there was all the rocks on the floor, the beige, grey, red, yellowy beige rocks, I think, something like that, and very, you know, pretty bleak, not bleak, that's not the right word, close to overused, you know, architectural structuring everywhere, you know, standard English road type shit. So just go look on Google Maps. I hate Google, but Google Maps is a good... Oh, I should just call it Maps, but whatever. Shit Google Maps, and you will find what you want to know. Just type in 31A... Oh, no, sorry, 51... Is it 51F? Garrett's Way or something? Or just any of those? Or just type in, like, High Wycombe or some shit, and you'll find like uh, uh, freaking what it looks like around the areas that I've lived in, in my past, and or recently, even in some respects. Uh, and you will see like one of those, like, but anyways, regardless, it doesn't matter. The point, well, it does kind of matter in some respects, but then you know you just see her, and she runs in, she comes in, and she's just sitting there, I'm just like, whoa, looking at her and stuff, and I don't know if I might have had a conversation with her, I can't exactly remember. Anyway, she goes off back home, I think, and I sort of just kind of, they were like, God, follow her, gotta go to her house. And I was like, or something, or did I go over to her house? Either, no, she came round to ours, and then I went back to hers. And she's like, go, follow her. And I was like, okay, I won't exactly follow her, but I'll come to her house and, go into a garden or something. And, and then I spoke to her, I was like, hi, she's like, oh, what are you doing here? I was like, oh, I just sort of kind of followed you or something, and they were like, oh, you should go around to see her, and I was like, I think I said, oh, you should go. I was Aaron, or whatever his name was saying, it's not Aaron, it was someone else, Kyle, saying, oh, why don't you just go round to her house or something, and I said to her something like that, and she's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just sitting here on my phone. I was like, oh, okay, and we just sort of had this like conversation where we were just talking, and then I sort of just brought it up, like, do you want to go out with me? And she's like, well, let me think about it. And she sort of just looked at me, and she said, okay. I was like, whoa, okay then. And yeah, she was just wearing this sort of like really weak looking dress, um, that kind of thin, nerdy, geeky type of dress. And yeah, so we went out, and it was just like this sort of rotation of me coming down gigantic hills to come to our house, to eat food, to hang out a little bit, to talk, very sort of, well, a little bit more involved conversations than what I've had in my previous relationships, like with Lucy and Chloe and all that shit. But um, yeah, it just sort of was a kind of sparse experience, sparse week, and similarly attracted experience, because I did have these strong feelings for her. Sort of that kind of strong, that feeling that you get when it's like, it's almost like a sharp electricity feeling. It's like that kind of sort of that kind of emotional experience, and which was really, I hadn't had that for a long time, so it was nice to have that again. Just sort of nostalgic. It was sort of a nostalgical, sparse, um, uh, elaborative, nerdy, geeky experience, and we kissed quite a few times, several times in fact, but it wouldn't go any further, which really pissed me off. Um, so it was just like this whole thing of going back and forth, and but I probably could have carried on doing it, but then I would have, I did kind of put it on her a little bit, in slight ways, like, will there ever be a point where we can do more? And she's like, well, not unless I move out or something, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, because her parents were so fucking retarded. And obviously, because you have to be a retard to have children, usually, in this day and age now. In the past it would be different, although I'm sure retards were involved in some respects, more often than not, but there were probably people who were intelligent who were doing that. But, regardless, or intelligent, and yeah. So we just kept kissing and stuff, and then it just got to the point where it's like, oh, do you want to see some of my friends or something? Which I guess she was just changing up. I think, we changed it up a bit. So she was changing it up a bit, or something like that, or I was not. I think I was like, oh no. She kept talking about her friends. I was like, oh, can I meet them? And I was like, that kind of thing. And so that's sort of what I did. I sort of just, she brought her friends round, and it was Melanie. Her name, the other girl was called Rebecca, by the way. Rebecca Saris or something like that. I can't remember what the fucking name was. What her fucking name was. But something like Rebecca. I know her first name was Rebecca. I know that for a fact. It's the second name, I don't remember. But I remember the other names somewhat more. So it was just like, okay, well, here she is. I think we went to a house actually, and I went around the house, and I was just like, I don't know what I was doing actually. At that point, I sort of lost my mind, to be honest, a little bit. I was just like questioning myself, like trying to figure out like, how am I going to get sex from someone, And I just thought, well, even though I had this nostalgic attraction to Rebecca, it was like, it wasn't honestly enough to keep me on her if there wasn't going to be any progression. So I just sort of dropped the ball and sort of poked my head into Melanie's world, and I did think she was pretty pleasant. I I don't regret it, because it was kind of a new take on she was definitely not my type. I mean, to be honest, she was just, she was kind of like that bookwormy, Englishy type, kind of weirdo type person, if you know what I mean. She's kind of like she was kind of like a she was an INFP, but she was one of those weirdly non-cleany type of lazy, weird. She was just weird, and I didn't care much, because she was very considerate and giving to me in some respects, and I don't know, I just fell for her for that reason, I guess. Or I let that be the it was, she was slightly attractive, aesthetically and visually, compared to Rebecca. Although Rebecca was definitely more attractive in the formal area, whereas Melody was more attractive in her her shape, her outline. Her outline was very aesthetically pleasing to me. And so we had this experience where I sort of just kind of fell for Melanie. I didn't say anything to Rebecca at the time. I just sort of just was with Melanie, and I sort of just, told Rebecca I wasn't into her anymore, and all this, and there was this big outroar by her parents, and I kind of regret it, because maybe if I stuck in longer, I would have had that experience. And it sounds like I don't give a shit about these people. I actually really fucking give a shit about everyone in this world, to the point that I seriously wish I could just flick my fingers and it would fix every problem everywhere. But I can't. So, And at this time, it wasn't really about. I wasn't using them. That's what I want people to understand. It's not I wasn't using them. It was more like my requirement was a lot more smaller than other people's. So if you're consistent in that way of working, then it could come across as me not giving a shit, but it's not. It's more like I could move everywhere I wanted, as long as people weren't, as long as I felt it was right. Now, could I go back and fix those problems? And I don't think I could get back with Melanie again, or Colette. It was way different. It's way different now. They've turned into very, very different people, and they weren't really into me anyways. I don't think, which is probably for the best in that regard, because ultimately I wasn't into them. So in that way, so you know, I mean, sexually, sure, but not anything else. And that's not just, you know, yeah, they were just aesthetically pleasing. Anyway, so let's get on to it. So yeah, so I sort of got with Melanie, didn't say anything to Rebecca, then eventually ended it with Rebecca when, you know, because I was just like, well, I can't remember how I ended it actually. It was annoying. I think I just told her or something, or you know, said it over the phone. I think yeah, so like, oh, I don't know if I can do this anymore, and she's like, oh, come on, you know, we can work it out or something, and I kind of regret that I didn't work it out with her, but you know, whatever, and just ended it. Outroar happened, and then yeah, that was it. It was just like, okay, now I'm with Melanie now, and then it got very interesting after that point. It was like, it was the same sort of idea, routine kissing thing, and that was just like, what the fuck? That was really weird. Like, just keeping on doing the same thing over and over again, and whatever, and you know, nothing really going the sexual way, so that really pissed me off. Then it was like, okay, well, now what? What do I do now? I'm like, none of these people are giving me what I want, and so what the fuck? So I just sort of hung about because it was like, this is the only person, and yeah, and then she showed me her friend, and then things got very weird. Her friend was called Colette, and she was big boobed and, you know, thick. She was a thick person. She wasn't fat. She was thick, and a little bit more aware than Melanie, I think. Colette was definitely a strong type of person, I think, or I think she was. Yeah, I think she was a people difference. I think, or an ISFP. She was even an ESFP or an ISFP. I'm not sure which. She may have been. No, she was definitely ESFP. I'm fairly certain. I think. Colette. Stephen. Colette. Stephen. Jeffrey. Colette. Stephen. Jeffrey. Colette. Stephen. Colette. She could have been an ESFJ as well, I'm not sure. No, I don't know what the fuck type she was, but she was just that kind of like jokey, talky, sarcastic, strong. Yeah, she was definitely like intense. She was intense, and that was interesting. So, you know, you have this, you know, strong, thick, intense type person, and then you have this sort of like weird, bookwormy, you know, INFP, and it was just like, oh my, absorbing harmonizer, and then an absorbing intensifier, or a differencer or something, whatever. And yeah, I was just kissing Melanie every so often, and then we started playing these sort of like weird spin the bottle games, and it just led into this strange kissing thing. Like we just like she we spun the ball, and it was like, oh, kiss Melanie. And I was like, I was still a bit nervous at that time when I was like that at that time. Not anymore at all. But it was weird. And then yeah, so I had to kiss her, and I did, in front of Colette. And then it was like, I think they went outside or something, and came back in again, and I said to I think I was already into Colette more than Melanie, so and I felt like I could actually get with Colette more and have something go off there, and so I just sort of hinted to Melanie, saying I kind of like Colette, and they sort of went outside and had this discussion, and they came back in and they just let it happen. They were just like, let's have a kissing facade. It was of a kind. Not intentionally. They didn't say it. They said, yeah, okay. So they spun the bottle, and then it eventually landed on the kissing thing, and then I started kissing. I kissed Colette, and then it sort of just took off. It was like they were just taking turns between them. It was like, oh, they had some kind of rule where they couldn't kiss each other in the same room because of probably for some lesbian like reason or something, and or they just wanted it to be strange, and so they went out, and then Melanie come in and kiss me and stuff, and then Colette would come in eventually, and then she'd start kissing me, and it was just great. It was just like, what the fuck is going on? So I think they knew, or they were aware, maybe they were aware of my situation, and that just went on for a while. And then eventually it just sort of dissipated, because it was like not Clara, what the fuck? That's a whole different thing. That's way, way fucking later on and didn't go anywhere. The Colette was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, I think. Or something like that. And Melanie was like, just sticking around, I guess, because she didn't want, she was enjoying it, I think, of some kind. She was a little bit weird in that regard, and so yeah, that sort of just was a weird moment, a weird time, and then she just eventually went off, went her own way, and then Melanie and me just sort of fell apart, because it was like, well, this is just pretty boring. And I think actually I ended it off actually at the end of that. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And yeah. So I was just left again. I was a nobody or whatever. I was no one to be intimate with, no one to experience anything more with, and yeah, that's the story. One of the most interesting of my, or one of the more interesting stories. And yeah, I'm talking for a while now. So it's just weird. It's like that's how my relationships have gone. It's just these weird concoctions of various characteristics of a relationship. It's and I don't mind it as long as it works out and it leads to something more. And what other relationships has been the very of similar kind, or where it's like, okay, let me try and think. There's been so many now. It's just, after that it was the Felicia thing, wasn't it? What was it? The Astrid thing and Alexandra thing. Alexandra was so hot, man. Wow. Hottest woman I have ever been with. I'm sorry. Amazing. Anyways, yeah, so just like all these women have just been like, after that it was just like fling things, or like just the one kiss, or playing around, or messing. It's always been a mess around. I've noticed where that happens. It's like if it's with Felicia, it was my cousin and her girlfriend, or friend that could have been a girlfriend, and her sister or half sister, and I'm like part of the half sisters like thing. I'm gonna, I was going to try with Felicia, and then we did try it, and it didn't really go anywhere because she thought my kissing was bad, even though I had never done it a lot before. So, and I needed to learn, and no one was giving me a chance to learn at that time. I couldn't figure it out for myself. I learned that later on, and all that kind of shit. And then after Felicia, it was I was either Astrid and Alexandra. No, it had to be after that. It was Felicia, Astrid, and then Alexandra, and that went on for a little while. And then I moved in with my cousin, and then that's when the Natalie thing happened. Before that was I met another Becky type on a fucking online dating site. There's a few actually that I met on an online dating site. There was another girl as well. I forget her name, but she was some black one. She was pretty. She seemed a lot more giving than of the other types. Apart from Rebecca, she could have been very relatively giving, and I think Colette would have been if she was in the right. But she was in the ESFP. I'm pretty damn sure she was in the ESFP. Either way, yeah. So that just. Where am I now? Yeah, so after Felicia, it was like, okay, and then Astrid and Alexandra. And Alexandra, I think we could have got stuff on, or we could have had a pretty interesting relationship. Probably not as good as it would be now, because I know a lot more now than I ever did then. So, but I think Alexandra knew what my deal was. I think she saw into what my reasonings behind what I was doing. So maybe she shared that as well, and I think she was just a nice person, and so I would have appreciated having experience with her. I wish I could go back. She's probably got someone now, or she met someone. But anyways, so yeah, after all that, it was like, well, my stomach is making sounds. It's like, yeah, after Alexandra, it was like blank for a while, I think. And then Natalie came in, and then it went blank again. And then I moved back here eventually, and then I was on the computer and just hanged out on the computer for a while, and just, I don't remember anyone standing out much at that point. This is when I was doing the Fail Drink channel, by the way. That one of the videos where I'm talking in the garage, that's when I got back from the whole Natalie thing. I was a bit more lively and back then. I was acting a bit more involved or something in that video because I felt like that was like I could try and do it, like make videos like that and see if it made a difference or something. Because previously I felt like I wasn't getting much attention, so I felt like if I just was more involved, I'd get more attention. Yeah, but for the longest time, it was like no one. For like 3 years or something, 2 years or something, I just not met anyone. And then I came across, somebody on Facebook called Nora, who I'm having an on and off relationship with. I hope she doesn't mind me talking about her. I won't go into too much detail about, second name or just any, big details like that. But, so far it's been an interesting experience of, it's that same routine cycling thing again, but it's like it's a much more mature one. It's really weird. It's weird. It's like I'm trying to go the next step with these people, and I think I'm finally getting there with Nora. Maybe if she's gonna let me in, but the thing how we met was just on a Facebook group, of all places. I mean, it was not the worst place, but not, it's not a place where you go, oh, But I guess actually it had an interesting flair to it, because it wasn't just really the Facebook that really brought us together. It was a luck moment of us just being able to having a connection. It was like, for me, it was like, I just felt so like familiar to her. I just felt familiar to her. It was like, I know who this person is. I've met people like her before. So it just felt like it was just like straightforward. It was like, okay, I know I'm already attracted to INFPs usually anyways. So I didn't know that at the time that she was an INFP, but I kind of, I was in that area. I think, if I remember correctly, something like that. I was going through all the different types that she was, because at the time I was still in that sort of figuring out whose type is who kind of thing. I still do that today, but it's a lot more easier. I use namology and all these kinds of abstract thought techniques, but it works usually. And yeah, so we're just talking, and it ends up like I'm trying to coax her into, not coaxing her, but like just sort of, she's with an ex of a kind, and they're sort of whatever, and I was just like, well, she's not with this other person, so what's wrong with me, going into that and trying to, see if there's something there. What if she has something to offer me, and I have something to offer her? And so I sort of just kept talking to her, and we just it was just more and more like we were building on this expansion, like of our this relationship thing. It was almost like we were already in a relationship when we met. It was just like we weren't aware of it. We were just sort of building it up to a moment where it was like, okay, now this is starting to look like a relationship here. But since she had all these like problems with her ex, like going back and forth, and she didn't want her ex to know that she was talking to me, even though they went together, and all this kind of shit. But it seemed like she was into me, and I was into her, and it's been like that ever since. It's just, we've had a few issues where I've ran off because I could not find a solution to, because when we talk, even at the beginning, it was like there was always this wall between us. Slowly that wall opened up, but the wall was still there. It was just covered in this wonderful aesthetic. The wall was like her and her ex-boyfriend, and you couldn't say all you want to someone, say get rid of him, but it's all about what they want, and it's weird to have be with someone who has that person around still, or uses that person for an advantage. But whatever. It doesn't bother me as much as it bothers me when that person gets control over the conversation. That is what bothers me. Or being cut off halfway through a conversation. That was what bothered me. But otherwise, it's been going relatively fine. But there's been moments where that wall has been too much, because I don't know how to deal with it. In a sort of, like, I know what the solution is, and now I'm starting to bring that in, recently, very recently even, but before, I didn't do that. It was like, I didn't know what to do, or if I knew, it wasn't very vivid, or it wasn't something I didn't go into. I'm not like an INTJ where they go through every single question and thought it was like just a little pop-up bubble that sort of hung around, and I didn't really pay much attention to it too much. I just sort of, if I did that, it probably wouldn't work right. So I just had, and then it was just these getting cut off and all these lots of things in combination that led me to those running away moments. And maybe I've done it too much, that she doesn't want to be with me anymore or something, or I've just but at the end of the day, I don't hate her. It's just I need to. I feel like I have to make an effort to fix the problem if she's not willing to fix the problem, because that's the situation. So if she's not going to fix her issues, then I will have to fix mine and we'll have to make up for it. Now she might not think they're issues because she's got some advantage for having that person there, and I don't know. Maybe it's not an issue as much as it is a very ecstatic position that she put herself in. I don't know if ecstatic is the right word. A very, I don't know what the name word is. It's that being a representative position. She put herself in a representative position that I have never experienced in my entire life, like that. Not to that intensity. I've never experienced it. And so, yeah, whatever. It's just like, I'm just going to do what I'm doing. She's going to do what she's doing, and I'm just going to try and make it work, or I'm not. If she feels like for some silly reason that I don't want her, that's not what it's about at all. It's not that I don't want somebody. It's more like I am having trouble understanding. I'm having trouble being okay with this burdening expression in various ways. Even though, but I don't know if I want to cut it off with her. It's just that sometimes I don't really know what to do. Like, if you have something that's so representative, like, do you know what I mean? It's like that when you're with someone and they're doing something that you don't want so much, but it isn't life. It's not like game changing because I hope, it's like somebody poking you and pushing that into you, and they keep doing it, and they're going to keep doing it, and they intend to keep doing that, and that is what I'm having trouble understanding, is why someone would want to put someone through that rather than fixing the problem, which is taking that bad ex-boyfriend out of the picture, if they are bad. I'm not saying if they are or aren't. I'm just saying that if they're your ex, and you're still using them. I mean, I guess there's a benefit to that. But I guess you can't. I don't know. There's a fine line. It's like, some people just will never be able to fix those kinds of problems, and some people will. And I don't know what side she's on. If she's on the side of she'll never fix that problem, or if she's on the side that she will fix that problem. And maybe it's not my job to know. I don't know. But that's just like, it's just being poked is really is the problem. And I don't want her to run away from me because of that, and I don't want her to suffer because of that either. So it's like, I'm just going to do what I can to make it better, and she hopefully will do what she can to make it better. But ultimately, the solution is for us to, whatever she wants to do, really, and whatever I want to do, apparently. And what I want to do is, move out, and what she wants to do is move out. So that's what we're trying to do, but we want to meet up as well, and so we're going to try and do that if she's still up for it. I mean, I know I sort of went the extra mile when I tried to run away, because I have this thing where if I just don't feel like there's any progression, I just feel like I have to get away. I have to run away. And now, sometimes I do it dramatically, so it's like I want to end it. And sometimes it's sincere-ish. Like, it's not like I kind of want her to come back, It's not like I just want her to run away. I don't know. It's weird. it's like I want to not be with her, but at the same time I want to be with her. And the reason why I wouldn't want to be with her is purely down to that. I don't know if what it is. It's the knowing that she may or may not make the effort to be in this relationship, and I will have to make the effort. That I don't understand why she won't put effort into it. And she says she always owes me and all this and stuff, and it's like, yeah, okay, fine. So then get to it, but she's having a tough time with that. So it's just hard for me to feel like it's worth my time. And that's not right. Is that right? No, I'll be honest, yeah, no. It's hard for me to feel like it's worth my time. If, she... But then she does try to make effort, but then she does it in these really fucked up, weird ways that I don't relate to in any way. So, most ways, and it's just like, oh, it's not like I hate her. That's definitely not what it is. It's just... we're different people, and we know that now. We've talked about it now, and we're just moving forward if we are. But I feel like I've been in these situations before where there's just like some kind of incompatibility, and it fucks everything up. And I really, really don't want that to happen this time. So, I'm putting everything I have into this in terms of like, at least with the money so I will pay for the entire trip, or at least the plane bill, back and forth, and maybe other stuff as well, and and that will be my contribution, and then I'll make sure that I give her a great time, and she can give me a great time, and that'll be us. That'll be it, and then we can go back and we can do whatever we're doing. I can earn up some more money. I can maybe even maybe save up some money, get my Ableton push because I need it for my game, and then I can save up anything then, and I'll save up for another trip, and then we can just do that for a while. But how many times is she going to do that before she gives up? So I don't know. It's just people are so. Is it me? Am I the problem? Do I just need to accept that every person I'm going to meet is going to have some fucked up, stupid issue that is not going to make any sense to me whatsoever? Because that's what it seems to be right now at the moment. It really is. Like, even with the first girlfriend, that girlfriend at primary, that mixed coloured girl, she just wasn't into me. Chloe wasn't into me. Lucy was into me, but not quite. And then it was like, who was the next one? It was like Lucy. Who was after that? It was then, that younger Rebecca girl. That was another Rebecca as well, but that's a whole... There's a few Beccas or Beckys or Rebeccas in this whole timeline of my life. Ugh. But there may be another one. I don't know. Probably not, because of the way I'm going now. It's the whole transsexual thing, so I'm probably going to slice off quite a few opportunities for that. But that's just the price you pay. Hopefully it's not too harsh. If it is, then you just have to utilize. There are other ways to get people. Sometimes I don't know. It's a weird world but that's fun to figure out. If it has to come down to it, which I don't want it to, but it's probably going to in some aspect. It has to, right? It's just the nature of the game. Where was I? So yeah, it just like after so it was Lucy, Rebecca, then it was Melanie, and then it was Claire, and those people just weren't that particularly into me, maybe a lot, but there was just nothing more, or they just weren't into me that much at all. And then it carried on from there. It was just like, who was after Claire? And then Felicia, the same sort of thing happened. It was like, they met me, and then they just thought I wasn't a good enough kisser at the time, which was pathetic. It was so quick and instant. Like, didn't even give me enough time to really learn and figure it out. She said she did let me like have a little bit more time, but she did that was it. And then it was like, no, not good enough. I was like, you serious? You have no idea what I'm capable of, you fucking bitch. No joke as well. Like, seriously. If I could take my mind and put it into something physical, which I can now more often than not, um, you're going to have a mind-blowing time. At least on the sensation front. I don't know about aesthetics, visual aesthetics, and all that. That's a lot more different and a lot more difficult. And I'm working on that. And then what was it? Okay, so after Felicia, same sort of idea. Then what was it after Felicia? Oh, and then it was was it Natalie then? It was Rebecca, Felicia, and then the Melanie Colette thing. No, it was Rebecca, Melanie Colette thing, or was it Felicia? No, it was Rebecca, Felicia, the Melanie and Colette thing, or no. Wait, no, it was the other way around. No, it was Rebecca, Melanie, Colette, Felicia. Then it was, who else was it after that? Then it was where did Astrid come into this? No, it must have happened after that. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I must have. I think. Yeah, no, I was living here, and then at that point I hadn't gone to my cousin's yet, and then it was the Astrid, and then the Alexandra thing. Well, it started off with Helgi, but that's not who I was with. It was a friend at that time. It was Helgi, then her friend, then that carried on, and then it was Alexandra, and then it went on to. And what happened with those relationships was quite a similar thing. The reason me and Felicia ended it was because she just didn't feel like I could do much. I wasn't very good at anything. I guess she just kept taking the piss almost in a way. That was really what she was doing. In some extent, it was really pissing me off. But and then with like Alexandra, it was like she wasn't really putting any effort into it. So I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake! So I just ended it. It was annoying me. And then Alexandra came into that picture somewhere at some point, and from that from Alexandra, I think, or no, it was from. Was it from Alexandra? Either way, an interesting little factoid that was kind of annoying as well is that Helgi was into Astrid, and so they were both Norwegian. They were all Norwegian at this point. So it's three people again, but different configuration this time. It's actually been like that several times. What the fuck? Anyway, I'll get to that. But with the Helgi Severi thing, it was like he was into Astrid, and then I met Astrid, and then we fell for each other. We didn't meet at any point. It was all online shit, which was another annoyance. And then somehow I met Alexandra in that. I think she saw me. Oh no, there was a Ryan, and then Alexandra. There was another woman as well. Then Astrid showed me her friend Ryan or something, or Helgi showed me another friend of his called Ryan, or somewhere down the line I met somebody called Ryan. Oh no, I met Ryan from fucking World of Warcraft. That was it. I was playing World of Warcraft, so this was after me and Astrid ended, and then I met this girl in World of Warcraft. I think when we were running around and we talked on Facebook, and then she showed me a friend Alexandra, and they were all Norwegian, which was really strange. And there was Samantha as well. How could I forget her? She was amazing. ENFP, I found out, and then she had a kid as well. I mean, I can't believe it. So she was obviously looking for that kind of boyfriend, not the one I was going to be, for damn sure. But she was just very kind. Yeah. So I met Samantha. I was about 17 at this point in World of Warcraft. So I was playing World of Warcraft for like 3 years at this point, on and off, and So I was in World of Warcraft, met her, and we had it off. We took off for a while, and it was really going pretty decently. There was a chance that we could meet, but she was a little bit younger than me. She was 14, I was 17. Yeah, but you take risks, right? You're trying to figure things out. You're trying to work out what you want to do in life. and you learn from your experiences. So I probably would never do that again, for damn sure. No way. No fucking way I'd do that again. But just how it is. And yeah, it just fell apart near the end, because it was like, she was just like, I don't know if you're the kind of type I wanted, but there was this strong bond between us in a way, a strong harmonizing bond, sort of interesting, but but yeah, she just wasn't into me at that point. That was very annoying. And then it just came on to Alexandra, and then we just got it off. It was just like, we just fit. I think we were both like sexually oriented people. She was very into me, I was very into her, and it was great. And it was just the whole distance thing again. We didn't have that, and I didn't have enough money at that time, and wasn't making enough money at the time. It was like £100, £200 or some shit a month, or something a lot less than that. Maybe it might have been £13 a month. I don't know. I'm not sure. It was some. I might not have been making any money. I might have just been trying to get money. I think that was what it was. I was trying to get money. I wasn't making money anyway, and I had to figure out how to make some. And yeah, that kind of fucked it all around, and it just didn't work out, because it was like, we weren't going to meet. But she was very into me. I think it was amazing. She was so hot. She was just great. Yeah. And then, so after that, it was like, okay, well, now I have no one again, and so I need to meet someone new. So I sort of just had no one for many years, or another year or something, I guess. I'm not sure if I met anyone else. I think I might have met somebody who might have been something but didn't turn out to be anything. And then I met Nora, and on the Facebook group thing. One of the INFP Facebook groups, possibly. I'm not quite sure which one it was, and that just spanned off like crazy, and that's where I'm at the moment. So it's just like, yeah, and there's been moments where there's been 3 people involved. So it was Helgi, Alexandra. No, it wasn't 3 people. No, well, it was 3 people if you consider me the person. So no, it's a group of people usually. So it's either me, someone else, and someone else, or it's me, and then it leads on to 3 people. In some way, or 2 people. It just fucked up. So it's just annoying. I just haven't had any luck with humans at all in terms of having an intimate relationship with them on a more level than kissing. And I'm sick of it. Fucking sick of it. And I don't understand what I'm doing wrong with it. Before, it's been, difficult for me to perform for them at that time. Not so much now, but it was. Or just something was off. I think after about, when it started, like just before Felicia, it was like, and Rebecca, like that's when I started to grow some, I started to grow. I wasn't even nervous when I was kissing Rebecca, like I was when I was kissing Lucy or anything. It was nothing like that. It was nothing wrong. It was a lot more nervous than it is now. But it's just fucking fucked up, and I'm so fucking sick of it. So, if you're gonna play the game with me, then you better play it right. You better come up with something that's going to keep us around, and I better come up with something to keep you around. And if I'm just too disordered to have a relationship with someone for some reason that I'm not aware of, then fine, fuck it. Then that's just how it is, I guess. Most of the problems have been either a circumstance problem, or either I ended it, or there's been some kind of effort or performance issue, either from my end or their end. So it's just like a seahorse of shit. It's like, so it's, let's put this together. So there's performance, there's circumstance, and then there's performance and circumstance is usually the issue I find, which is really weird, because what the fuck? I mean, everyone has to learn, everyone has to figure it out. I don't pretend to be a master of kissing or something like this, but I have done extensive research, and I'm very passionate about it, actually. And so I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out, what's the deal here? How do I please someone and stuff? And I'm not you know, I haven't mastered it. I've still got to figure out exactly what the deal is. But if someone could just put a platform there for me to have some fun with, I'm sure we can figure something out. Fuck. So whatever. You know, I love some boy flings in there as well, like on the internet by after Natalie, and the whole transsexual thing when I started taking that more seriously, and that's when, you know, boys started to show up in there. But there was a few little encounters. So at some point around there, it might have been after the whole before Natalie, it was the online dating girlfriends that could have led somewhere, and then I forget that woman's name. It's really irritating. Isabella or something, I think it was. I can't, something like that. And there was another girl, the Becky girl, and then there was that fucking weed girl that I don't even know why even. I didn't even like. We didn't even have anything. It was just like she was. I just sort of just saw what she was up to and saw on video, and then she was obviously doing all this drug shit, and I was like, okay, no, thank you. I've got to get away. That was really bad. Like, I'm okay. It's like the whole drug thing is like, if they've not done it for a long time, or if it's just minuscule shit and they don't do it anymore, or, you know, and they're never going to do it again, at least they're not around me. Or at all. I don't know. Even if they don't do it around me, I don't want to be with someone who is doing drugs on a frequent basis right at this moment with me. You know, or even, you know, even if I just know about it, or even if I don't know about it, but I know that they're still doing it. I don't want that. I want someone who is just clean and hasn't done any of that for a long time, or just nobody's done it, period. I mean, that would be ideal, is no one who's done it. But you're never going to find that, right? Because everyone's so fucked. I have never ever done drugs in any way that I can remember, apart from one time where I was like, what's the fucking deal? I went into my old dad's garage at one point, and I looked and I found a fucking shitty cigar, and I didn't even smoke it properly, and I didn't even finish it. It was like one puff, and I didn't even do it properly, and I was just like, why the fuck am I doing this? Threw it on the floor, smashed it up, and by this point, all my old friends who weren't my friends by this point in any serious way were just doing all that kind of shit, and that really put me off. So I was just so done with that. Never do that shit again. So yeah, other than that, I've never, never drunk wine in any extensive amount. So, or whatever, beer or anything. So whatever. I think the only time I drank beer was when my cousin kept telling me to drink this like 2% beer drink, and I was like, fucking asshole. But so I don't know, is it like something wrong with my body? I mean, look, I do have stretch marks here, and I do have like, you know, mild chicken skin, but it's not like noticeable. I mean, well, it's not noticeable. I mean, this is going to get graphic, guys. And yeah, I need to sort that out very much. I'm very aware of that I need to sort that out. It's very easy to do. But yeah, you can kind of see there's sort of a bumpy texture and stuff. But, you know, like, I'm not an ugly person that much. I mean, I don't know. I don't like hairy armpits, by the way, and it's easy to sort out. So, just shave it off. I probably shouldn't have done that. I don't know. Whatever, who fucking cares? Everyone's learning. Everyone's trying to figure it out. Yeah, I look a lot more rougher in person, but, you know, the camera makes it all smooth and elegant, but it's really a lot more dark and rough and weird and radiant. So, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just everything's so fucked up. So, you know, this is wherever the ball takes me again, but, you know, I'm if it comes down to it, it might just be that maybe there's something I'm missing, like I'm not doing, or that I'm just going with the wrong people, or maybe it's something to do with, you know, maybe I'm into guys more or something, which in a way I feel like I am, but in a way I'm not, because I like women. It's just a different way of liking someone. With women, it's more like this video is going to be very fucking long, so be prepared. With women, it's like I am giving them, making them feel great, and getting something in return. With men, it's like I want them to make me feel great, but I can also make them feel great. So it's basically the same thing. It's just a different way of it. It's like with women, I feel like I'm more dominant. With men, I feel like I'm more submissive. but I like either or. So yeah, I'm very dynamic. So that's not really what the difference is it? No, I don't know. I don't really have any sort of. I like men for certain things. I like women for certain things. I like transsexuals for certain things. I like every every gender has its own characteristic that I like more for certain reasons. Like I don't like. I mean, I don't mind male chess, but compared to female chess, they're shit, right? Logic says, at least in my opinion. Um, with the genitals, either one is very great. I actually prefer the male penis over the vagina in some respects. I do, to some extent, because I just I'm more familiar with it. I guess I relate to it more than the vagina, which is more of a spongy hole, that looks pretty nice sometimes. But I like doing things with it. I like playing about with it and messing with it and making it feel things and all that kind of stuff and changing its temperature, whatever it is that that person wants or I want. And same with the penis though. But I like the bum. I like the anus. I like all that. I like all of it. Like every aspect of a human. Like if the nostril could be penetrated, I'd probably want to try that. Seriously, I'm that kind of weird, and I don't care if that makes me look really strange. So, it's just you want to. I am a sensationalist. I want to explore it all, and I feel like nobody else wants to explore it all. Everyone wants to have a kid, and or some other piece of shit bollocks. So I don't know. Luckily, I think me and Nora we might make it. You know, not might. I think we are already making it. It's just we're having a hard time at the moment, and I mean, to me personally, I think she's pulling away, and I'm so pissed off about that because, but I've pulled away several times, in fact, and I just feel like I've caused it. I caused her to pull away because I was pulling away too much. Not too much. What the fuck? I was pulling away with more significance every time, and I don't know. It's just fucking pissing me off. I'm so sick of this cycle of shit. So I'm gonna try and end that. I don't want any more cycles. I just want things to just, work in some way. So I'm probably gonna have to just grow some balls and take lead, I guess, because that seems to be the problem. Is like when I don't take the lead, people don't do shit. So I have to take the fucking lead. So I'll take the fucking lead and I'll fix the fucking problem, right? Everything else seems to be fine between us, mostly. I mean, it's a bit like, it's a bit sparse, the whole warmth and excitement thing. I'm more about the sweetness, so that's a bit weird. I don't know how we're gonna combine those together, but I guess they come from each other, really, in a sense. Like, if you have sweetness in sensation, unless you're not into the sweetness, or you don't let if you get the excitement and the warmth from the sweetness, so it works hand in hand. It's just this who takes a leader role thing. That's the bit issue, and I guess I have to take it because Nora is not taking it, and she doesn't. I don't think she even knows how to take it. So it just everything seems so against what I am with everyone. So I don't know. So that's my relationship experience. That's how it's been like. It's been this bizarre alternations of the same sort of situation in different ways and turns. It's all been centered around this inability to solve the problem of some kind, obviously, but the problem has always been something to do with performance or something to do with fucking the other thing, the circumstance. So I'm trying to solve those problems. And I think I have. I think I've solved most of the issues. Like the money issue isn't a problem. I've almost got £777 in my account, or probably a little bit less, like 750, 760, maybe even more. because I had to buy some plates, recyclable plates and film and shit like that. But you know, and eventually I'm going to have to pay my £50 website bill at some point. So I'm hoping that happens the next time I get paid, so that it doesn't affect me. And great, someone's coming downstairs. It's fine. I talked for an hour and 39 minutes, so I'll just wait. Okay, so yeah, that's just how it is. It's just like a cycle of just that issue. So I'm just, if people are just not gonna, if it's just gonna be, if me and Nora are just gonna turn into this fucking ball of shit, I'm just not gonna. I don't know. I really need to have the sex part. I don't. The rest of it is just so minuscule compared to that. So if somebody's just not gonna have that, then fine. Maybe I just need to just find someone who wants sex only then, because if I can't, I'm all for the whole, configuring myself to match to everyone where possible and comfortable and desirable. Um, I don't think it's a sex issue with us. It's more like just money issue, really, and then like the whole communication thing where it's like who's the leader. And other than that, I don't think we have that much of a problem, apart from maybe she has issues with expressing herself or something. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I have issues. I have issues with expressing myself a little bit. Sometimes when it comes to like the right what words to use and things like that. I don't know. Anyway, so that's been a very long video, and maybe it was a rehash of old videos. I hopefully not. It was something more fresh and new. But that's what I mean. I don't really have much else to talk about at the moment, because it's not like it's been the same all the time. I mean, I was trying to play Guild Wars 2. I don't know why I was at that point. I should have not played it at all. Well, it's been interesting. I got to meet some ISFJs and I'm at an ENFP, which I could actually take advantage of again. I could talk to him, learn stuff about him, which I might do if he'll let me. So I might have to jury-rig myself in there and then jury-rig myself out. But, other than that, I haven't really... I don't know, it's just been this sort of spaced out long grind to figure out all these formulas, because I've had these kinds of distractions or some other distraction, or I'm just learning through I'm just learning slowly, because there's no one's going to tell you the formula of an INFP. So it's like you have to sort of figure it out, and some people might. I mean, hopefully I can talk to Nora, because she's an INFP, and I can figure it out from her. And then that'll be it. And then I can do the ENFP one, and then I'll be done with that. And then I can move on to ISTP and ESTP, and then ISTJ and ESTJ. And then I'm fucking done with that shit. But the actual, but when I have now got that foundation, it's incredibly advantageous. I mean, it will help me in every life, like everything that I could think of. Help me in art. It'll help me in socializing with people. It will help me with having intimacy. It's going to help me with everything. So it's like the best guide to humans. It's like another great big insight for me. And you know, that's like one of the hardest of them all, I think, is formulas of these personality types. Not like a mathematical formula per se, but like an English word version of it. So it's just great. It's just going really well researched, actually, apart from the long grind. Once that's done, it's just straight back into that, like, okay, well, now I have the foundation. I can now sort of, you know, build Myris around those formulas. You know, that's what I'm trying to do. So that when people play it, they feel similarly attracted to it, and I am giving away some of the idea here. But you know what? Who cares? Because this is, you know, you want to know more about me, you want me to talk more, then this is where I'm at the moment in my life. I don't know what else I could possibly be talking about. I mean, there's really no point me talking about other things because I'm not doing those other things unless somebody's asking me questions. So if someone wants to ask me questions, then go ahead, ask me the questions and I'll answer you. But I have no intent of talking about politics or anything like that if nobody else is talking about it, or because I don't really give a shit. I like talking about me and talking about my relationships with people. That's what I'm doing this channel for, and talking about my, you know, my projects and my ideas and things. That's all I'm interested in, and that's all I've ever been interested in my life, period. I've never been interested in other shit apart from maybe like theory and technique and things like that, and just like problem solving technique. Really is the only other thing that I've really been passionate about, is problem solving technique in all kinds of aspects. That's honestly who I am. It's problem solving, me, and relationships. That's pretty much all and I talk about. And when it comes to me, I mean everything about me, like thoughts, emotions, sensations, all of that shit. That's all I am. Like me entirely, my relationships entirely, and problem solving entirely, to some extent, with all of those. And that's pretty much all I ever talk about. So, you know, if people don't want to find me boring, then fine. Find me boring because what you're talking about is really pointless. Sorry, I mean, yeah, gardening, solving gardening problems, I don't mind talking about that. I love talking about that. But, you know, and talking about plants and different kinds of plants, that's fine. You know, theorizing different plants, that's fine. But, you know, you start talking about boring shit like, you know, but actually, to be honest with me, I'm kind of like a bit more open in that regard. I can listen to a lot of things and be okay with it. It's just if it's the way it's done that I have a problem with. So if somebody talks to me in the way that I just don't agree with, or that's when I just cut off. I'm just like, no, I don't want to know who you are. You know, I'm trying to be nice and everything, but like happened on the Guild Wars, I was in a guild called Battle Circle, which I still am in, and the people there are just so fucked up. I mean, they're all like drug users and all kinds of shit, and you know, just really fucked up people. And you know, even though they're really nice and kind, and I wouldn't call them fucked up, and you know, if because of that niceness they are. I mean, underneath that, so you know, but I'm fucked up. So, but not in that kind of way. I'm not in like drug fucked up. I'm more in a intentionally slash accidentally by nature kind of fucked up. I'm sort of taking my fucked upness that came with me from my past, and my whole upbringing, and then what I was born with, and just turning that into an art form. And people might be going, "What the fuck? That's wrong." But that's what you do when you have problems. You just what else can you do? You know, I'm not just going to fix them. I don't want to fix them because I enjoy them. Some of them. I mean, even though I get severely depressed, I don't like to be like that. I prefer to feel I like to feel like somebody is transferring information to me in a similarly attracted way. But if I don't have that, I mean, I'm pretty much open to the world. You know, I can take in all kinds of things. even like I mean, maybe the only thing I find I have difficulty with is extreme pain. Like if my leg got snapped upwards or something, and or something really like got crushed, really bad. I mean, getting crushed isn't as bad. I mean, it hurts like a bitch, um, like really bad. But after that crushedness, it's not. It it's just a sting. Really, realistically, a very painful sting, but it's still a sting. But if you get your leg bent upwards, you rip all the tendrils and all that pain of snapping your leg. That's horrible. That is sour. That is so sour. Um, Sour and sharp. Sharply sour. But I mean, that's like the same thing. Like if you got glass cut, right? The reason that hurts is because what the sensation of that experience is like it's a sharply sour experience. Just like when you have, when you're pleasuring yourself, or someone's pleasuring you, if that ever happens. um, I've had very few experiences with that. Um, I want more, obviously, with a more elaborate and more comprehensive, or something like that. Is comprehensive the right word? I don't know. I don't care right now. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just a sharp, sour feeling, and pleasure when it's at its most is a sweet, sharp feeling. So there. It's just that it's being spread across the area, and then you're getting the negative thoughts and everything else, and it's like then it's actually affecting your functionality, and that fucks you up. That's like emotional. So you've got emotional bad sensations, and then you have the actual sharp sour sensation, and from the pain of the glass going through, and then you have like all the thoughts, and then it's just not good. Anyways, I think that's enough. This is like being a 2 hour almost video, and this is the longest video I've done on this channel, I think. And yeah, so that's all. So I guess I will just end it there, and I will speak to you again at some point when I feel compelled to do so. I mean, this was sort of happened by random. I did get everything that I wanted to say out, I think, even more so, I think. And I don't know. The game's taking a while, obviously. I really just want to get to that beginning part, and it's not going to take too long, I hope. Once something in the game gets a little bit more complex, things slow down a bit. So, and they're going to get a little bit more and a little bit more complex, so they're slowing down a lot more. But it's going to get to a point where it's like, okay, I can flow with this for a while, and it's not going to go too wrong. Or there's nothing, you can only go with it so far. I mean, you don't know every single fucking reaction that can happen in every single moment. So, you kind of just have to try your best to be as realistic as possible. So you sort of think about it like, how does a character act in a city? And you go through the little personality differences and all that shit, and you have to figure it out. It's all complex shit. Anyways, so I think that will be enough. So I will talk to you again when more changes. Or it might be the same thing. It might be a rehash of something previous. Either way, I will speak to you later. Nora's not going to speak to me. She might be on. She might be on at 6 or something. I don't know. This is what I mean. This waiting is annoying as well. But that's just part of the price, apparently. If we're even still together, because I kind of sort of ended it with her on a more serious way than I have done before, and I don't know if she's getting the wrong impression or something. I think she is, or something, or she just thinks I'm not into her, and that's not what it is. It's different. It's a different kind of running away. It's not I don't want to be with her. If I kept thinking about her, on and off, when not all the time, but like, every so often I was thinking about her. But it was more of an intimate, it was like a sexual thought, so, and I felt like, if it's sexual thoughts, and it's not, do I really want to be with her? And the honest answer was no at that point, to be honest, because I was just, I was free from that burden. So if it was like, well, I don't want to be burdened, so yeah, no, I don't like her. But it wasn't like I didn't like her. I didn't want to be with her because I didn't want to be with her as a person. I didn't want to be with those burdens. I don't want to be with her burdens. But whatever. I'm just dealing with that, and I have, and I think, and I don't know. I just need that to go away, and it won't. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it, and I am. Because I'm not going to run away again, because what's the point? There's no point running away, no need to come back again, so might as well just stick around now, and just, I don't know, if it gets too much, I'll just move away from it, or just, I don't know really what to do if that happens again. So, I ran away again but that's because, I just like speaking to her, I guess, and I don't really, the pain is just the pain, and it gets too much sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Really, that's where I'm at with it. So, anyways, thank you for watching, and bye. Okay.